How's it going, super friends? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Brad, the DC Universe Geek. For those of you who don't know, today we're going to be looking at the DC Essentials Batgirl and Joker from DC Collectibles. Both of the figures come in the DC Essentials white with solid color window box packaging that they've used seemingly forever now, with the essentials and the icons. Very eye-catching, very simple as usual. On the left side of each package, we have an image of each of the figures with a bit of a diorama scene behind them. Very cool. On the other side, we have a number 10 and an 11 to correspond with the number of each figure in the series. Batgirl is clearly number 10. And I'm very happy to have another member of the Bat family join the ranks of the DC Essentials. And the Joker is number 11, and it's always cool to have more villains to face off against the heroes. The backs of the packaging have images of both of the figures, a few more images of the figures that are in the wave. Previously, I've already reviewed Nightwing and Harley Quinn. They're up on my channel, so if you want to go up and check those out, you can, because they're there. Here's a short little bio for Batgirl. You can pause that and read that if you'd like to, and as well for the Joker. Oh yeah, by the way, it was also mentioned before that people like to see the barcodes on the bottom for some reason. It helps them with their collecting to find what they want, so there they are. Alright, enough about the packaging, let's break them out. First, we'll snag out Batgirl, and then we'll yank out Joker. Oh man, that really didn't go as planned. Boom! Out of the package! What do you think, guys? Batgirl, Joker, I think they look fabulous so far. Before I get into having a closer look at each of the figures individually, I think it's kind of interesting to point out that I think they actually got the scale right between the two. Babs has always been depicted as shorter than the Clown Prince of Crime, and you can see here that's exactly what she is. She's also smaller in pretty much every single way. And Joker really certainly should be a larger character than Babs. But let's look up close and personal at Batgirl first and get a little taste of exactly what Barbara has to offer us in the paint apps and the sculpting detail department. And as you can see, she is absolutely loaded with 100% new sculpting detail from head to toe. Looking at her body proportions as a figure itself, I think that they got the actual look of Barbara down pretty much pat. She's definitely not the same size and scale as Harley Quinn, the last female figure in this wave. Her bust was definitely larger than Barbara's, which is comic accurate. So kudos to DC Collectibles for getting Barbara's body size and proportions right. As for Batgirl's head sculpt, for the most part, I like it. I think it does a good job of looking like her as far as the facial structure and the color choices go, so that's fine. Although I'm not going to lie, it is frustrating to see that the paint hasn't gone where it's supposed to go along the bottom of her mask and inside of her eye holes. There's a nice scuff on the tip of her nose and a scrape beside it. Good. My favorite. However, if there is one saving grace about this figure's face paint, it's the fact that the eyes are actually painted on quite nice. If you've seen all the rest of my DC Essentials reviews, you'll know that that's pretty much hit and miss, because some can look great and some can look like Cookie Monster. And just taking a minute to look at Barbara in hand, I want to point out that her hair, for one, is made out of a nice soft rubber. It's got the two tones of ginger in there, so it's not just the one color. You've also got, literally, like I said, all this newly sculpted detail. Every zipper, every line, the bat on her suit, everything is newly sculpted. Even the lines on her legs there, the black lines, there's sculpted detail there. Her boots are a brand new sculpt. This figure is literally a 100% new sculpt as far as I can tell. Her gloves are new. I can't see anything that's been reused. I mean, okay, maybe the elbows have been reused because there's no need to make brand new sculpts of those. But I think for the most part, this is a 99% newly sculpted figure. I also want to point out exactly how soft and pliable the rubber is of her bright yellow and black painted cape is. It really is very, very nice. Probably one of the best Batgirl capes I've seen to date. So overall, painted very nice and sculpted just as well. And just to finish off and round out the Batgirl segment of the video, I want to show you that she comes with this here Batarang that is very much like the one that came with Batman, only a little bit thinner, and also two extra hands, both of which are open, presumably for grabbing hold of the Batarang. And now on to the Joker. The Joker is a fantastic figure, comprised of 100% newly sculpted detail. Well, from the waist up anyway. From the waist down, I'm assuming he shares every single body part exactly the same as the previous Doomsday Clock Rorschach figure. I mean, close inspection of the shoes and the pants makes it 100% clear that they share the exact same shoes and pants. All the wrinkles are in the same place, the laces, the creases in the shoes, they're the same. I mean, we don't know for sure whether they share the exact same butt, zipper, belt, and groin area. However, judging by the fact that the rest of it's the same, I'm going to assume that it's all the same. All of Joker's body proportions in general, they're fine. I kind of wish he was not quite as V-shaped in the chest. I sort of wish he was just more straight down and skinny as he's depicted in the comic books. And it's definitely a very strange jacket. I don't think I've ever seen him wear a jacket quite like this in the comic books. Now, I happen to think that the head sculpt for this Joker is fan-friggin-tastic, and that's no joke. There's something very classically Joker about this, with the hair kind of wavy and parted off to one side, a classic teethy grin smile with the red lipstick, there's some shadowing on the flesh there, so it's not just a straight white, and the eyes are painted pretty good, just like Barbara Gordon Batgirl's. So between the sculpt, the painting detail, whether it be the shading or the base colors, I'm definitely very satisfied with this Joker face. Now let's do an up-close, hands-on look at the Joker before we do his size comparison with other Jokers. I like the fact that his trench coat is a nice, soft, pliable rubber, and the orange of his vest, which is sculpted really nicely by the way, actually matches the orange on the underside of the tails of his little tuxedo-y suit jacket there. The flower on his jacket could have been painted a bit neater, but it definitely is sculpted nice. I would have gone with a different tie, but they've got the tie sculpted into the color of his shirt, and it does look very good. All the paint on this figure, wherever it's supposed to be, it generally is. There's just not a lot of paint error on this figure pretty much anywhere you look. And that's something that with the DC Essentials, I've mentioned over and over again, there have been messy paint applications. But this figure doesn't really seem to suffer from it that much, so that's really good. For Joker, his one and only accessory that he comes with is his Joker cane, with his own face on it. He's immortalized himself in a cane. This seems to be typical Joker behavior if you ask me. Alright, so far so good. Now let's tackle the articulation. Batgirl's head is on a ball peg with a full range of up and down, backwards and forwards motion, and the rubber hair doesn't really get in the way, so that's pretty cool. She's got a swivelly ball jointy torso and there's a lot of rotative movement there. Hinge swivel shoulders, all the way up and around. Bicep swivels, double jointed elbows that crunch right down like that. She can actually touch her face. The wrists are on a hinge swivel, so obviously they go round and round and also back and forth. She does not have a swivel waist, and I'm okay with that. We don't need one of those hidden under the belt. A non-drop hinge ball-jointed groin. Batgirl's bum gets in the way, so there's not a whole lot of backwards motion though. She's got a thigh cut, goes all the way around. Double jointed knees that can move completely unhindered and crunch up very nice. Rotation below the knee as well on a peg swivel, as well as having hinged ankle pivots for her feet. So that's very cool. Joker's is very much the same, with the head, oh my god, pulled it right off. Well, at least you get a good view of the articulation. See, there's the hinge and there's the ball joint. The inside of Joker's head has this weird orange stuff that keeps flaking off and landing in my recording area. Anyhow, look up, look down, look all the way around. He's got an ab crunch that crunches down. Oh my god, does it ever crunch down? And oh boy, does it ever crunch back? This is a really useful ab crunch. He's also got hinge swivel shoulders, rotating biceps, double crunched elbows. Wow, these really work. And wrists that are on a hinge and a peg so they swivel and move back and forth. Joker's also got full rotation at the waist, a non-drop hinge ball-jointed groin, allowing free and complete movement of the legs in all directions except for back because his buns get in the way. He's got a thigh cut, completely useful double-jointed knees, and finally he has the typical male character DC Essentials ball hinges, which in some ways is better than an ankle pivot, but the ones that they put on these DC Essentials are not usually stable enough to hold the figure upright. They want to fall forward. The problem with these, as with all of them, and I'm going to try and illustrate it, you might not be able to hear it, but listen. Can you hear that clicking? Yeah, it's because it actually clicks into place at certain points. And the problem is, it will typically click into place too far forward or too far back. That is the major problem with these ankles. If they clicked straight up and actually balanced the figure properly, these would be perfect ankles. And that is it for posability. For the first comparative portion of the video, I brought in all the yellow and purple Batgirls that I own. I know this one's not technically a Burnside Batgirl, she's only loosely based on her look, but the rest of them actually are. DC Icons, DC Multiverse, Batman Missions. And for my final comparison of Batgirl, I wanted to bring alongside two more classic depictions of Babs, this one being the DC Direct Alex Ross version, and this one being the new 52, no longer in a wheelchair, called the Oracle Batgirl. And yes, I swapped out the heads for this one because the other one just looked too harsh. I didn't like it. I like this face better. I like it so much it's on two of them. If I'm being honest, this is probably my favorite Batgirl head sculpt of all time. I love how soft the lips look and the light shines off. You can just barely make the teeth out between them. Her eyes look so lifelike. The skin tone looks perfect. There's the right amount of shading around her eyes, and her hair is like perfectly flowy. This is just, in my opinion, such a good Batgirl head sculpt. And for my next comparison, I have the DC icons on the left, and then a highly customized DC Universe Classics one on the right. And then for my final comparison, we have the head swap Hush Joker over here, and then we have the Batman and Son, at least I believe that's what it is, on this side. Okay, so now that we've looked at absolutely everything with these figures under the microscope of the action figure review, the packaging, articulation, accessories, paint apps, sculpting, detail, size comparisons, what do I think of them? Were they worth the money I paid for them or not? Well, number one, both of these figures have so much brand new sculpted detail that it's hard to say that these are just a minimal effort pair of figures. Just a passing glance at these figures and you can tell that a lot of effort has gone into them, and it's paid off. True, the design for Joker's jacket, in my opinion, is the only thing that draws away from this figure. I wish he had been given a more classic looking jacket with tails, but this still isn't terrible. It's just, in my opinion, not the ideal. But both figures are excellent representations of the characters. They've got a lot of articulation, ample articulation. If you're looking to buy these figures for action figure photography, just be aware of Joker's ankles. They can definitely get a little bit loose, whereas Babs, hers are nice and tight, and I've had no problems dealing with her for the entire video. So yeah, I like him and I highly recommend these figures. If you can find them at your local comic shop or online for a reasonable price, seriously, order them, pick them up, go get them, go on the hunt, ask your buddy James to pick them up, anything, because I think they're absolutely worth the time, effort, and price to grab them into your collection. Well, that's all for me, so thank you so much for taking the time to tune into my channel and watch this video today. Remember, if you like what you've seen here, I've reviewed all of the other previous DC Essentials on my channel. They're on a playlist, so you can go and check those out. Also, I load up a lot of my action figure reviews on Toy News International, so if you like the still shots you've seen here and you want to see them and more, head on over to their action figure forums where you'll find my reviews and many, many more. It's your one-stop shop for all things toy news, not just action figures. And remember, if you want to see more of my face and a lot more of my hands show up in your inbox on a regular basis, you want to become a super friend and join the DC squad, hit the red subscribe button, and if you do, ding the bell so you get notified of when the new videos come out, and I'll see you in the next one. Have an awesome day, super friends. Thanks for watching, and take care.